In the research that I did, it was very apparent that most women, when they are going to be angry, what they dread the most isn't retaliation or violence, although those two exist. It's this quality of mockery, of being made fun of. And we know the stereotypes. You're an angry black woman, you're a hot Hispanic woman, you're a sad Asian woman, you're a crazy white woman. All of those are silencing. They're silencing phrases. It starts off when we're young. She's just a spoiled brat. She's a little princess. She's a hormonal teen. She's a nag. She's a high-maintenance bitch. I mean, it just never, ever ends. And that kind of language we need to be able to confront, and we need other people to confront it. And we need people to actually be allies and to respect the words that we say when we have this problem. I think that, even in an interpersonal relationship, if you can't say, this is what I'm angry about, because you're fearful of what the men in your life are going to say, you don't have an egalitarian relationship. You don't actually have a relationship of mutual care. If you're at work and you have a specific kind of anger and you fear retaliation, in fact, there are probably other people who feel the way you feel. And the important thing there, because responses to anger are so contextual, is to find those people, to work in unity, to find allies, to confront the problem. And a lot of, for example, the Me Too stories that we've come to learn do that. They're about sharing those stories and trying to challenge institutions. On the political front, I think we have so many examples of the kind of positive anger that we need to be talking about and thinking about. On the right, we have this anger of resentment. It's fueled by contempt and disgust, and it's really a looking back, right? It's an aggrieved entitlement. But there's also this anger of hope, which is fueled and related to compassion and social justice. It's very joyful. It brings together communities. And what I'm trying to say in the book is that we have to acknowledge that too. We have to acknowledge that that is a kind of anger that needs to be respected. And I don't mean by that a destructive venting anger, because in fact that's also dysfunctional. That's not very useful. But there are many ways to think about this emotion and then to use it constructively. I want to end with one story of something that happened to me actually day before yesterday to describe the long tail of this notion of space and the way we teach girls and women to make space, either physically or emotionally or politically for men. I was in an airplane. It was very late. I'd been on many airplanes. I sat down. The plane took off. I leaned back. I was happy to lean back. And the flight attendant came over and asked me to move my seat up. And it's funny because 2 days before I had the same thing happen, and I didn't think, I just moved it up. And I thought, oh, she must need me to move it up. I didn't think about it. But what this flight attendant said was, the man behind you is uncomfortable. And I said, oh, that's too bad. I'm uncomfortable. And she said, we just thought it would be nice if you moved your seat up. And I said, it would be nice. And no, but while it was happening, my heart was beating. I felt flushed. But I could think about what was happening very clearly. And she said, well, it's just that, he needs a little more space. And I said, I bought this seat, and it came with this button. And my understanding is that I can push the button and push my seat back unless there's some other problem. And she said, well, there are 3 chairs, there are 3 empty seats, and they were right next to this man. If you need more space, you can sit there. And I said, I don't need more space. I'm fine. She asked him if he wanted the seats, and he wouldn't move. And through this whole interaction, I felt panicked. And I thought, now I'm the bitchy one. I'm the one who's made a problem in this scenario because she doesn't perceive that I have an equal right to this seat or this space or to the comfort that this man is demanding. I didn't say that to her in that way. But what was really jarring, and I think so emblematic of what we're facing, is that just before we landed, another flight attendant barreled down the aisle and loudly proclaimed that she was giving him a credit for his forbearance. And at that point, I honestly thought, I'm so happy it's not noon and I just have my 3 shots of espresso. Because I was tired, I walked out and I filed a complaint at the desk. And I found out what their regulations were. But that's a small thing, you know? But it did require, it required the effort. And in fact, it requires all of us to recognize the microaggressive quality of the problem, and to claim the right to those kinds of spaces.